I saw your performance at is it the Family Christian Center in 2017.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, with me and my mom, was it? Oh no,
No,
wait.
it was just you.
2017. That was in the Midwest area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you were singing All This Love, and
All This Love.
it felt like you were standing before God and just singing to him. I'd never witnessed a performance with that felt so real, because then you changed the words slightly to make it about yourself, and it was very emotional. In fact, when I rebroadcasted it, some of the people who were at the church said we were there and it was the most awesome experience. And because you just told that amazing story about what Bobby was saying, and it was probably evidence in how you were singing. It didn't seem like you were copying. It just felt like you were just standing before God and speaking to him, and we were just watching you have a private conversation. And that's
Wow.
not easy to do.
It's amazing that you said that, because I felt that way. I remember that show. I felt that way. Well, not show, but I remember what you're talking about. And I'm close to God like that. I'm close to music like that. I'm very close to my songs as if they were my children. I say this, haven't said it in a while, but I believe that music is the voice of God. It's a universal language known to all mankind. No matter what language you speak, we understand each other right there in music.
Yeah. As a Christian, I know one of the things that always inspired me was when David was playing his harp, and Saul was delivered from his evil spirits. And I remember God telling me one day that, look, this is what I created music. That people go to church and get healing and stuff, but there was a power in music where, as you sing, people were supposed to find their healing and restoration. But a lot of us kind of forget that, and I do wonder if that was everything that you ever want to get to, where you're singing. Doesn't matter what you're singing, but the spirit behind what you're singing would touch people.
Yeah. Yes, I believe what you're saying wholeheartedly. I know it's a fact. Music. Everything on the radio is not music. You can write a song, but that doesn't make it music. Just all it takes is melodies and notes to come together to write a song. But for it to really be music, that's another thing. That's when you're in the presence of God. That's when you're hearing from God. Even if it's not a song that's directly saying, God, I worship you, God, I praise you.
Yeah.
Those are worship songs. But even a song about love.
Yeah.
God is love. He created love.
Yeah.
And he wants a man and a woman to share love together. And then he wants mankind to fellowship and have love one for another. And so music would do that too. But it would have to be music, not just, I don't want to call it garbage, but it's a lot of garbage.
Yeah, no. But did you learn it was early on then, because of your, which you mentioned about your uncle who was a pastor, I believe, and did you and your mum, did you then learn about worship from that very end? And when you were writing your songs, was it sort of your own worship tribute to God? But even though it could be we could all see different meanings to it.
When I wrote my songs in the beginning of my songwriting days, it was purely about God. That's my first experience, writing songs to God and about God. And then when I began to write love songs, they were always on point. I noticed what I mean by on point, it came from my heart, and it came from a conviction of me seeing what was going on around me. Like Time Will Reveal, I was inspired to write that. I was 15 years old when I wrote Time Will Reveal. And in fact, I just came from church, and I seen some people in the park, Stepped out of the park, and I seen the people in the park, and they were just, it was a couple. And it's amazing that I even saw this. But it was a couple, they were talking to each other, and what was going on was he didn't believe him. It was like he was trying his best to convince her that he was for real. And like I said, it was amazing I even heard this. I'm like 15 years old. What am I doing running into this situation? But I heard the whole conversation, and it pricked me, it pricked my heart. And when I went home, I wrote about it. It's like I wanted to tell his story.
Wow.
For some reason, I knew where he was coming from. And so I just said, what can I do to make you feel secure? And the words just started coming to me.
Wow.
It was truly God. It just started flowing, the words and the chords. And I remember crying while I was playing it, and I wasn't sad or anything, but I just couldn't help it. I was crying. And so I put the song to the side. I thought it was corny after a while. I said, well, I don't know what I wrote that for, but I got it out of my system. So I was never going to record it. Never. So, but my brother Chico, he's the one that convinced me to record. I'm glad he did.
Wow. I saw the Blackstreet on the big Another Level album did a version that I Know the Lord. They call it Time of Real. I Know the Lord is Real. I don't know if you heard their version.
I know the Lord is real. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
Yeah, and that's when I was like, oh, they're singing the gospel song, but without realizing the origin of it.
Because you know what? It stands to reason from what I just told you. I mean, look at it. Isn't that amazing? God is amazing, isn't he? Because he was the one that inspired it in the first place. God was. He inspired me to see that couple in the park and then feel what was going on, And I've been writing songs like that really all my life, just from wanting to tell people stories. And I've never had a time of reveal experience. I never had an all this love experience. Love me in a special way, stay with me. So I wasn't writing it from my own experiences. I was writing it just from God just giving me these words because the world needed this type of healing. Somebody needed to hear it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times in the church world, we think that we can't get past the church to heal anything else.
Yeah.
We can't get past if all we talk about is God, as if nothing else is going on in this world.
Yeah.
As if there's nobody hurting out there, as if there's nobody that has a different issue.
Yeah.
And that's why we can't seem to reach who we really need to reach.
Yeah.
We have to learn how to branch out from that. Never step outside of God, but branch out from that.
Yeah.
From that being your foundation.
Yeah.
God is my foundation. Still to this day, God is my foundation. And I branch out from that love, wanting to heal people, wanting to help people. And it helps to heal me.
But that's David. David was, if he was in this generation, we would have thought he was radical. Why are you singing to those people? But that's who he always, he wrote those Psalms. He was laying down watching sheep and thinking, oh, that's the Lord is my shepherd, just like I am to them. And he, but that's not how they were worshiping back then. He was just being real, talking about day-to-day stuff. And I think when I see you as that type of a songwriter, psalmist, as we would call it.
Wow.
But I guess sometimes the church would say, well, he's singing to the world, but that's the world that we're supposed to reach.
Mm-hmm. But God wants to save the world. That's why he sent his only begotten son to save the world, not to save the righteous. David was amazing, wasn't he? What about the Song of Solomon, the Book of Solomon?
Yeah.
I read some things in there, and Solomon was getting his Mac on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was rapping to his little foxy lady.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Songs of songs. Yeah, songs. Yeah, his love songs. Yeah, the the daughter.
He was describing the beautiful anatomy of
yeah.
a woman, which God made so beautifully, and he looked
Yeah.
upon it and he was amazed, and he just started saying, "Wow," telling her how beautiful her body was.
Yeah.
But it was in the content and ramification of between a man and his significant other.
Yeah.
Not just every woman in the world. It wasn't about lust.
No.
It was about adoration of God's beautiful creation, our queens.
Yeah, definitely a queen.
You know.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, to press the notification bell so that you can be notified when we do have a new interview. Loads to come, but thanks a lot for watching.
I begin to